This is Rummy's Corner. Who were the top 5 heavyweight champions during the 1950s? In this particular case, there were exactly 5 men who held the heavyweight championship between January 1st, 1950 and December 31st, 1959. There was also only one world heavyweight champion during this decade. So for this video, things are far less complicated than they get as we move forward through heavyweight history. For the purposes of this video, we are specifically comparing championship reigns and championship bouts during this period. Ezzard Charles entered 1950 as the NBA heavyweight champion, and he'd already made 2 title defenses in 1949, which are excluded for our purposes here. In September 1950, Charles beat former heavyweight king Joe Louis to win the vacant NYSAC championship, where he also earned a valid claim to the lineage. Throughout 1950 and the first half of 1951, the Cincinnati Cobra made 6 title defenses. In July 1951, Charles would defend the title against a man he'd already twice beaten, Jersey Joe Walcott. In fact, Charles had won a 15-round unanimous decision against Jersey Joe 4 months earlier in March. But in this rivalry, the third time was a charm for Jersey Joe, and he stopped the Cincinnati Cobra in round 7. Jersey Joe made 1 successful title defense in a 4th fight against Charles, before defending against undefeated Rocky Marciano in September 1952. Marciano became the new champion when he stopped Jersey Joe in round 13. Marciano made a total of 4 title defenses in 1953 and 54, including a rematch win against Jersey Joe and a pair of victories against Ezzard Charles. Marciano made 2 more title defenses in 1955, including his final career match, a 9th-round knockout victory against Archie Moore. The following April, after defeating the Old Mongoose, Marciano retired and remained retired. The championship vacancy was filled when Floyd Patterson defeated the Old Mongoose in November 1956. Over the next 2.5 years, Patterson made 4 successful title defenses. This led up to the final heavyweight championship contest in the 1950s, which happened in June 1959, when Patterson put the championship on the line against Ingemar Johansson, and Ingo's Bingo won the day, and Johansson became the new world heavyweight champion, dropping Patterson 7 times before scoring a 3rd-round technical knockout. Now, when it comes to ranking these champions, based on their championship fight performances from January 1st, 1950 through December 31st, 1959, which is based on a total of 21 heavyweight championship fights that happened during the 1950s. Now, before I do my ranking, I just want to say for those ranked lower, all 5 of these guys were undisputed world heavyweight champions, so no disrespect meant to any of these champions. This is just my personal opinion here. That being said, I think this one regarding the 1950s is pretty straightforward, with really just one difficult selection. Number 5, I think it is clearly Ingo. He only had 1 championship fight in the decade. It was a sensational victory against Floyd Patterson, where Ingo's Bingo, his thunderous right, was on full display. But I don't think that win alone warrants him being ahead of any of the others. Number 4 is Jersey Joe. After losing twice by 15-round unanimous decision against the Cincinnati Cobra, Jersey Joe scored that iconic knockout in their famous 3rd bout. He also beat Charles again in their 4th fight, and I think the title defense in the context of the championship rivalry between Walcott and Charles gives Jersey Joe a clear edge over Ingo, but things get trickier deciding between number 3 and number 2. But ultimately, I went with Patterson at number 3. I think it's a very tough call here, as Floyd was mostly facing ranked guys, but I generally believe Charles fought a slightly higher level of competition. So I have Ezzard Charles at number 2. The Cincinnati Cobra was tied for the most heavyweight title defenses in the 1950s with 6, and I personally do not want to penalize champions for what they did in their post-reign championship fights. But in the case of Ezzard Charles, he put forth a strong showing in his 4th fight against Jersey Joe, and he was also the only man to go the full 15-round distance in a championship fight against Marciano. So I think his post-championship reign might actually improve his standing, despite 3 additional losses. It is true that during the 1950s, Charles was just 1-2 against rival Jersey Joe during this period, but I still think Charles's overall body of work clearly gives him the edge here in terms of championship reigns. But ultimately, I like wins over Joe Louis, Jersey Joe, Lee Oma, and Joey Maxim a little better than wins against Archie Moore, Tommy Jackson, Pete Rademacher, Roy Harris, and Brian London. Tough decision though, that one. And number 1, Rocky Marciano. I think he was the clear-cut choice here for the top spot. Undefeated, a perfect 7-0 in championship contests spanning 3 years, with 6 of those 7 victories coming by way of knockout. Marciano's resume often gets a lot of criticism because a lot of the top guys in that era were a little long in the tooth, and there is certainly some truth in that. But at the same time, we can only judge a boxer by what they do in their own era. And Marciano essentially defeated every worthwhile challenger during his reign. Jersey Joe was the heavyweight world champion, whom he defeated in back-to-back contests, including their first bout, which was an instant timeless classic. And then he beat La Starza, had a pair of wins against the still formidable Cincinnati Cobra, the win over Cockle, and then the Swan Song Classic against the old Mongoose. Rocky was consistently facing high-level opposition. In fact, everybody that Marciano defended his title against was the current Ring Magazine #1 rated contender, with the lone exception being Don Cockle, who was number 2 when Rocky faced him. That's an impressive run in any historical context. So what do you think? Do you agree or disagree with my rankings for heavyweight champions from the 1950s? Please share your thoughts in the comments section, and I'll try my best to get through the 1960s edition sometime fairly soon. Thank you very much for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoyed, and have a wonderful night. This is Rummy's Corner.